Welcome to the Central Pennsylvania Music Podcast. Tonight, Jay Hunter and Debo. This episode is sponsored by the Media Twist Group. And now your hosts, Daniel Kime and Alan McCutcheon.
Welcome to another episode of the Central Pennsylvania Music Podcast. I'm your host, Alan, and we've got a stacked show for you tonight. Our first guest is Jay Hunter of iRock Radio. He's worked multiple angles within the radio industry. He's got a lot to talk about. Our second guest is Debo, singer, songwriter, and recording artist from Central Pennsylvania. He's got some incredible hits and some incredible pipes. I honestly can't wait to sit down with both of them, so let's get right to it. And we are sitting down with Jay Hunter of the Internet Radio or iRock Radio. I always get that. It is Internet, right?
I stand for iRock, so it's
iRock.
okay.
So the iRock Radio.
I think it stand for Internet, I should say.
But I mean, so that's not. I mean, that's what you're known for now. But I mean, that's not your first gig being on radio. I mean, you've been with like 105.7 The X, 97.9, 93.7. Not my personal favorite, 92.7 Jazz. I actually listened to that.
Yeah.
I loved that radio station, and I was so sad when it went away. And I only found out one time when I got in a new car, and I tried to tune to it to make it a preset, and it was not 92.7 Jazz, and I was very upset.
It was a very interesting time, and I'll be honest, I was not a smooth jazz fan when I took the job, when I applied for the job.
Okay.
But I fell in love with that format real quick.
It was just such nice listening. It calmed me down. I loved it.
It did, and once you go to the shows too, as far as smooth jazz is concerned, it's very contemporary. So there's some smooth jazz artists that have a rock and roll feel, a lot that have an R&B feel. Every once in a while, there's more of a traditional jazz style, but it gets you moving a lot, especially the keyboardists and the trombone players.
Oh my God, yeah.
Brian Culbertson, if you ever have a chance to see a trombone and keyboardist, Brian Culbertson is an amazing performer, as well as Mindy Abair on saxophone. She's hot.
I mean, I love saxophone. Like, I can't get enough of saxophone. Like, I just think it's an amazing instrument, such a unique sound, and it just there's something about a saxophone when you hear it. I don't know what it does, but it's like magic to my ears. I love the saxophone. So maybe that's why I liked 92.7 so much.
The other one that really turned me on to smooth jazz was an artist by the name of Rick Braun. And Rick Braun was actually in the band War, Lowrider. So there was so much in common to talk with those people, and they were so personable and so great to talk to both on air and off air. And when you go to the Berks Jazz Festival, which I never knew was the 5th largest jazz festival in the country.
I didn't know that either.
That happened for years up around Reading and Berks County.
Okay.
And we would go there and broadcast live from it. And just 1 year of that, I was like, this is amazing. This is like the Woodstock of smooth jazz. This is and
jazz is amazing to watch.
You pretty much got to meet everyone except for what's
Yanni?
his name? No, not Yanni. You didn't get to meet Yanni either. But I was gonna say Dave Koz, but Kenny G. Kenny G never showed up to the Berks Jazz
Kenny G.
Festival.
I don't know why I said
Dave
Yanni.
Koz
I was
did.
thinking Kenny G. I was definitely thinking Kenny G. But you're right. Yeah. Unfortunately, we never got to meet Kenny G.
Yeah.
But dude, I don't know what it is, man. I loved it. I mean, and you've, like I said, you've been all over the place in what you've been doing. But tell me how it started. Like, I mean, that's what I always like with my guests. I want to know what started this journey.
How it started, or looking back when it really started.
Whichever one you like.
Looking back when it really started, and this is no word of a lie, I was 3 years old.
Okay.
I was 3 years old. I still remember it. It's one of my earliest memories. And I
don't think I remember anything from when I was 3.
I don't remember
core
much.
memory unlocked.
I don't remember much, but I do remember a little 45, a little tiny record player. They used to have those little portable ones, and my mother had this box of 45 records. Like you have your 33s, which are the normal vinyl ones, and then you had 45s. And she had a box of them. They weren't in any sleeves or anything. I couldn't read, but
you're 3.
But, right. I couldn't read, but I was able to take requests, and I really was taking the requests, and I remember how I was doing it. I do remember how I was doing it because I would look at the labels on the 45 record, and like, listen, I even know like my aunts who were about the same age, my great aunts, like the age of my grandparents.
Sure.
But they didn't know the names of all the songs and the artists and everything, so they had their own little names for songs. You know, like there was this one big band, and it would be called they'd call it Topsy, and there would be another one, and it was a song that had something to do with the swallow. So it was like Follow the Swallow, but I don't even know if that's the name of a song or not. But but anyway, they would say, "Here, play this." I'd take the record off, put the next record on, put it on, because I knew what the label looked like, and I just remembered the sound to the label. Fast forward, like, 10, 15 years later, and I'm, walking down the hall at the community college in Allentown, Pennsylvania, or just outside of Allentown, Pennsylvania, and I see a friend of mine that's inside the college radio station. So I go in, I hang out during his show. Next thing you know, I start doing a college radio show.
It's fun. We have very similar stories.
So,
my friend was the one that had the podcast, brought me on, and then was like, "Hey, you want to be part of this?" And here I am. So,
yeah.
I mean, isn't it crazy how like all the little things like fall into place?
All the little things. I mean, I remember, even in elementary school, junior high, like, constantly, I was that person that would always be making mixtapes, because that's what we did our age. We had cassette players, and we would record the songs off the radio, and we would call and we would make a request, and then we'd try to hit pause, and then we'd try to hit record and have the timing perfect. And I would always not only make the mixtapes, but I always thought to myself, how do I get to be that person that's talking in between the songs? And I would always, look for things that I wanted to do when I grew up.
Yeah.
But I never thought it was even possible to pursue a job like that until the college radio station. So I never bothered. I never bothered trying to pursue it until then.
Look, I feel like it was back then. It was how do you? That wasn't like common. It's not like we had supercomputers in our pockets back then, and it would be like, go, how to become radio personality / DJ. That's not a thing that you could do. And there wasn't a book that you could check out at the library to do that either. You know what I mean?
I wish there would have been.
Right. I mean, I'm sure there was something about radio DJ, but like not how do you do it? There was no path. So I mean, it's like, I feel like it had to be something like that. It had to be organic. Like, oh, you knew someone that was doing it, and you had to like kind of like, I don't want to say force your way in there, but you had to like make yourself known. Hey, I want to do this.
Yeah.
But I mean, and now fast forward all the way to now you own your own radio like show, and like, I mean, we were talking about a little bit about this off air.
Yeah.
But like,
so
tell me again, like what you have done and how much this has expanded now.
Well, I mean, first, getting out of college radio was not an easy task.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get into it, as far as like getting paid to do it, was a whole different ballgame. And I was fortunate enough that I had some friends at the college radio station that did work weekends on different commercial radio stations. Mm-hmm. And so they explained to me how you put together not just a resume, because a resume, that was something brand new to me in 1991. I was like, you had the resume, and then you had what was called an air check tape. Okay. And an air check tape is literally just a tape, typically about 3 minutes long, of just the DJ talking in between the songs.
Okay.
So, and of course, if you're, doing a top 40 format, you're talking over the music, and they also want to see that, you can, hit the post, which is stop and talking when the lyrics start to the song.
Wow. Okay.
But
I'm sure that's an art in and of itself.
That is an art amongst itself, but you can actually catch on to it pretty quick once you work in top 40 and you know that you're hearing the songs literally every other hour.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Top 40 does that. Rock, on the other hand, it's a little bit different.
That makes sense.
But it's also more relaxed. You can talk dry. You can talk a little bit over the song if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
Rock listeners, they really don't want you messing with their song.
Valid point.
They want to hear what you have to say, but then boom, give me my song. Don't ruin it. Don't talk over the intro. So,
yeah, I mean, a lot of people put a lot of work into those intros, and they want people to hear that.
Exactly. So, I started out doing weekends on a top 40 station out of Pottsville, T102. And
I vaguely remember.
I tried to get into B104 in Allentown, which just flipped over to more of a hot AC format called B104. It used to be Laser 104.1. Worked as a producer on the AM side for a while, and that company actually purchased.
Is that world vastly different than the FM world? Is it
Yes.
is it like what you see like in the movies and TV shows? Like AM is vastly different from FM.
Well, it was pretty much all automated. I was running the Rush Limbaugh show, and while the Rush Limbaugh show was running, I was recording the G. Gordon Liddy show on reel to reel, and then rewinding it and then playing it afterwards. It was 6 hours of the right talk. And
oh my God! Okay.
So you're recording one show to while another show is running, so that you can actually run both of them, even though they're normally both on at the same time. And you have to time. It's about timing. Everything is timing specifically. But that opened the door because that company ended up buying the rock station that my college radio station competed against, which was WZZO.
Okay.
And that was the ultimate goal at that time in that market. I wanted to get from WXLV to WZZO, and I specifically wanted to, and fortunately was able to, host their local music show called Backyard Bands.
Oh, that's awesome.
And because even in college, I was big on local music, opening a door for just another story down the road.
Okay.
But
yeah, okay. I love the stories.
But it was always, I always had a love for local artists.
I mean, you've been an advocate for the local scene for a very long time.
Even back in high school, I just loved local bands. If they had talent, I wanted to do something to help them.
It's weird how that works, isn't it?
And then ZZO was still a part-time gig because I was finding my way through college and spending all my time at the college radio station. But finding my way through college was something else that I never ended up graduating with. But
hey, I'm right there with you. I tried college. I was like, nah, I'm okay. I like what I got going on.
And then 97.9 just flipped over from being classic rock The Mountain to 98 Rock and then The Bear with Howard Stern in the morning and a whole new attitude. And active rock started taking off with bands like Stained and Godsmack and Kid Rock and Korn and Limp Bizkit. And that was, I was sold. I was sold because I was not a fan of the grunge.
Yep.
They took away my hair bands, and I was pissed. Can I
You
say
had a
that?
personal vendetta against Nirvana?
I had a personal vendetta against Nirvana and Guns N' Roses. I thought Guns N' Roses killed hair bands more than Nirvana did.
You think?
I do.
I always like to say, I mean, I give respect to Nirvana where it's due, but I personally think Nirvana was like the pivotal switching point where you went from 80s rock that you like remember, like, Def Leppard, Judas Priest, like all of them, and you switched into like the 90s grunge era.
Guns N' Roses was more of that sleaze rock. The glam era was already dying with that look. Like even Motley Crue for one album, Girls, Girls, Girls.
Yeah.
They started to adopt that look too. And it was all because of Axl.
You know what? I can't say I never thought about that.
Don't get me wrong. I love Appetite for Destruction. That is their one good album, in my opinion. But I think that was the beginning of the downfall for the glam era. Absolutely.
This is we can talk about this forever. This is off camera, but yes. Okay, I see your points.
So 97.9, The Bear took off.
Okay,
and that's when I was finally on the radio every day. I took a job, an office job also, which got us more involved in different elements outside, getting us on the road and in front of people. I took the job as promotion director.
Okay.
Probably my most successful job in radio, FM radio, was being a promotions director. It's what I was most of the time in Wilkes-Barre, along with becoming an assistant program director. That's when I learned the art of scheduling the music that you hear, because it's not just the DJ saying, I'll play that, then I'll play that, then I'll play that. It's more of an art of, okay, we're going to play these songs, we're going to play them in this order. It's because of it coming out at this song from this time area, song from this time era, this song from this time area, but also sound coding it so that you don't hear like Green Day, Blink-182, and Good Charlotte all back to back to back.
So you literally learned the algorithm.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's
So and I loved that. That was what I initially wanted to do. That was the end goal.
Mhm.
But I was never satisfied with how somebody else would do promotions. So I held on to the promotions director job as an assistant program director as long as I could.
okay.
And then eventually, when these two radio stations actually merged and they just simulcast one on the other frequency, they had to let go an entire staff. And I was one of the people that ended up being let go. However, the company, literally within a year later, they transferred me and hired me down here because the same company owned 105.7 The down here.
Okay. I was saying,
in
'cause I know you
Harrisburg.
worked on 105.7 The X as
Yeah.
well.
And that's when I finally met, Jen Shade. Claudine was the program director at the time, number one son. And it was an absolute fun time. But again, it was back to being a promotions director. And I had fun being on the radio, and I didn't realize how much I was going to miss being on the radio until I was working at a very active radio station that already had all their personalities. You had Nixon, you had Nipsey at night,
Yep.
you had Nixon during the midday, you had Jen Shade in the afternoon, and you had Howard Stern on in the morning.
Yep.
So and actually,
how are you going to compete with that? You know
and
what I mean?
actually, one of our other DJs on iRock Radio now, Rick Becker, he was the overnight guy on 105.7 The X at the time.
Okay.
So there's a lot of people that I worked with over this time period that when I finally decided I want to do my own thing, I want to do an internet radio station, I had created a lot of connections with a lot of talented people.
Yep.
And it was very easy to show them, hey, this is what I have planned. This is what I'm doing. If you're interested, I'd love to have you, do a shift on the radio station.
Absolutely.
And Rick Becker the funny thing is, Rick Becker was in, I think it was a year after we started the radio station,
Okay.
but he was in the day that he was moving away from Harrisburg. He was moving to Arizona at the time.
He's like,
It was
I got this.
it was his going away party, and he's like, yeah, as soon as I get set up, I'm there. Tell me what I have to do to set it up so that I can DJ at home.
I mean, it makes sense because
Because all the DJs DJ from their home.
I did
all of
not know that.
Virtually, we do theater of the mind, and yeah, we're in a studio, and this DJ comes in, and that DJ is leaving, etc. So if you're listening, sure, every once in a while, and sometimes it really is happening.
Yeah. But most of the time,
yeah,
it's like the radio version of Hollywood Magic.
Absolutely. So it's like it's the virtual studio.
Hey, but I mean, if it works, it works. I mean, and it's not surprising because like you said, you already had all of this rapport with all of these other people, and you were doing it like in the industry, and you're like, hey, I kind of want to do it my own way, and they were like, well, he's doing it really well this way, so let's see what his way is. And I'm sure you piqued quite a lot of interest in people that were like, well, how can we do it better? Like, if we can do it better, absolutely. Let's see how we can do it.
We try our best. And do I mimic some of the programming from what I learned programming in FM? Yes.
But how can
do
you
I
not, though? You know what I mean?
Do I intentionally though also use some of the influence of just the gut instinct, and also some of the influence of when we were in college, we would all kind of have like 5 of us, and we would have a music meeting, and we'd play the music, and it'd be like, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And that's pretty much what we do for a lot of, if we're going to add something. Don't get me wrong. If Five Finger Death Punch comes out with a brand new song, we're playing it.
Yeah.
Okay? If Hailstorm comes out with a new song,
You're playing it.
we're playing it. But then there's other songs and new artists and stuff that come out, and it's like, okay, well, that's good. I'm not sure I like that, whatever. But we're still going to put that in the pile, and I send out the MP3s to 5 different people that's on the staff, and it could be a song that I hate, but if the other 4 like it,
We're
probably going to play it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if I own it. I want to make sure. Look,
This is a radio station, not your radio station.
I will go on record. I cannot stand Pearl Jam.
Really?
Cannot stand Pearl Jam.
I mean, I'm not the biggest fan, but
we will play Pearl Jam.
Okay.
How do you deny Pearl Jam? How do you deny Nirvana? But I like Nirvana, actually.
So I'm going to get a lot of hate for this, and I will go on record and say this. I cannot stand any song, the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I do not understand how anyone enjoys their music.
But I respect them.
I respect the hell out of Flea. He's an incredible bassist. And everything. They're incredible artists, but the sound that they make, I'm just like, I would literally rather listen to nails on a chalkboard. I'm not kidding. I don't understand how anyone likes that.
I can understand that.
I just don't get it. But I mean, it makes sense. Like we were saying, like it's not your radio station. It's the radio station. You
Right.
own the radio station, but your goal is to get listeners.
Yes.
So it's what do the listeners want to listen to?
Yes. And also, to be honest, I mean, the way it's kind of factored in also, every one of the DJs, we all do it voluntarily.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I don't get paid. As a matter of fact, for years, all I did was pay the bills, paying the royalties, paying the streaming, paying the web hosting, paying all of that.
I'm sure over years that builds up.
And I was happy because I had a good job at the time that helped me pay those bills, because everybody spends money on a hobby. You either spend money on skiing supplies or boating and fishing, or
hunting.
your guitars and your sound or whatever. Radio is my hobby, so I didn't mind spending the money on it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Some people spend a lot of money on elaborate travel. So
also true.
Regardless, but it made me happy. But the fact that I had a staff that was passionate about what they were doing, I wanted them to be happy with what they were playing, not just be told, hey, I'm doing this shift and I have to play this song and I have to play this song. So when I'm scheduling the music, do I tweak each shift to, okay, I'm letting them know that they're playing this music, but I also know what their favorite artists are. I know each one of their styles.
Mm-hmm.
Without changing the overall sound of the radio station, I will tweak it to, each individual DJ to give it their own flair, aside from their personality in between the songs.
Smart. That's smart, because if you're listening to iRock Radio, then you're like, oh, if I like the really heavy stuff, or whatever, it's like, oh, well, I know DJ so and so, like that's where I'm gonna hear like my I Declare War, or maybe not that heavy.
Yeah,
but
everyone is gonna have heavy stuff. Like if they don't have Slipknot, they're probably gonna have Stone Sour, or they're probably going to have Five Finger Death Punch, or they're probably going to have Falling in Reverse, or Avenged Sevenfold. Mm-hmm. Exactly. But it's just a matter of, okay, so Rick Becker, he's a big 90s buff.
Mm-hmm.
He loves Pearl Jam, so I know every time he goes on, it's got to be Pearl Jam or Temple of the Dog.
Okay.
It's got to be. Or maybe throw in a Lost 90s jam.
Like a one-hit wonder.
Like what was it? It was the lead singer of Stone Temple Pilots. It was the Tank Girl soundtrack. The song was called Mockingbird Girl, but I forget the name of the band. But it was Scott Weiland and some of the guys, I think, from Alice in Chains and Soundgarden or whatever.
Oh, kind of like one of those project bands.
Yes, exactly.
Collaboration bands. Yep.
But you don't remember it. You'd remember it like you would have heard it back in the day.
Yep.
But then it got lost. And we'll throw that out there because that's what Rick Becker's known for.
That's awesome.
During the classic metal phase, when metal is on, we'll throw in an old Manowar instead of Skid Row or Iron Maiden, because that's our classic rock. Iron Maiden, Anthrax, Slayer, also Motley Crue, Warrant. You name it.
Def Leppard.
But the classics are only, between hair bands and 90s, it's like 2 or 3 classics an hour. We focus more on the newer stuff and independent bands, which leads us to where we are, the Central Pennsylvania Music Podcast.
Exactly right. Dude, that was one of the things I was going to stem into. So you actually branched into it for me. So with this scene, I like to ask all these artists and all of our guests that we have on the show is, what do you think is so special about the scene? Because there is something special about our scene here. Like there's so many people, whether it's Taylor Swift, Breaking Benjamin, Poison,
Yeah.
you name it. We have people that break out of this area.
There's absolutely a sweet spot in this area, and has been for the longest time. It peaks and then it fizzles down, and then it peaks again and then it fizzles down, but it never goes away.
Oh, it never dies.
It never goes away. Now, I mean, obviously, it started many years ago.
Oh, yeah.
With the big bands that would travel through this area, the Dorsey brothers and everything. But when it came to rock, the first band that I had ever heard from in central Pennsylvania was Poison. And then, I wasn't really thinking at the time, oh, Cinderella's from not too far away. Brittany Fox is from not too far away. Kix is from not too far away. Which, by the way, I think it's wonderful that Kix went out with a bang.
Yeah.
They if anybody doesn't know, they did a sold out show at an amphitheater?
Yep.
Or an amphitheater down near Baltimore, and it was amazing. I wish I could have been there.
I believe my father was there for it because he had an original OG tour merch shirt of Kix from the 80s. He had White Lion, White Snake, all these older bands. And I remember I would wear them all the time in high school, and people were like, you don't even know who this band is. And I was like, I know one or two songs. I was that guy.
White Tiger.
White Tiger. Yeah. dude, it's but he had all this. I'm pretty sure he saw it. But yeah, I mean, then you had, if you go a little bit newer, then you had Fuel. Fuel's from Harrisburg.
Right. Well, Live before that.
Live.
Yeah, Live. Yep. Then Fuel, which, by the way, Fuel, it was great because I know they got their start here, even though they were originally from Nashville.
Yes.
But they were also playing as a cover band in the Allentown, Bethlehem area. So when I was working at ZZO, I was actually the first DJ to play them in the Lehigh Valley market. Really? Because it was the local music show, and they were not signed yet.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Was it Shimmer?
What's that?
Was it Shimmer? Was that the song that you guys played on the radio?
It was, yeah.
I had to. Dude,
well, they basically said that's what we wanted. We wanted you to play.
To this day, I still don't know what those lyrics mean, but I know every single word to that song.
All I can tell you is that all that shimmers in this world
are sure to fade.
In this world, yes.
I
had to rethink it now.
It's just dude, I know every single word of the song, but I have no idea what he's talking about.
but yeah, Fuel, and then it just again, sometimes it fizzles for a while, but then out of nowhere comes this little, at the time, 3-piece band that was playing to literally 20 people at a little club called the Voodoo Lounge in Luzerne. I had the pleasure of hosting that every week. Okay. To 20 people.
Love it.
So, of course, I drank a lot. and the band got to know me, I guess, for drinking a little too much back then. But
we all have our time.
Breaking Benjamin.
I love Breaking Benjamin.
And it was so good to see some of the original lineup when they were inducted into the Hall of Fame. But Breaking Benjamin opened the door. Hailstorm ran through the door.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, it may have been 10 years later, but she was young.
Yeah, it's true.
Lizzie and RJ were young. But they ran through that door, and within months, it was Motionless in White,
August
Crowbot,
Yep.
From Ashes to New.
Yep.
August Burns Red.
Yep.
Yes. And that's not even counting the Maryland border.
Yeah.
I mean, really, when you think about it, the Maryland border was Central PA. I technically look at this music scene from northern Baltimore area to Scranton.
Okay.
Because there is so much talent that goes straight S-shaped up and down. You've got bands like you had bands like Jimmy's Chicken Shack.
I actually don't know if I know that one. That one's not even ringing
any
bells.
We played them at 105.7 a lot.
For the first time, I think that's a band I haven't even heard the name of.
Check out Jimmy's Chicken Shack. The most popular song check out is High.
Okay, I'll have to check it out then.
But the bands now, there's Any Given Sin, which is actually doing very well. They re-released an old song, and I think they did that because after they got signed, and it kind of sounds like Shinedown.
Okay.
But
I do like Shinedown.
Yeah. So that song's called Dynamite.
Okay.
There's a band called Rise Among Rivals.
I have heard of them.
And
I have a T-shirt of theirs.
And also Dead Eyes that used to play at the Chameleon Club a lot.
Oh, I remember Dead Eyes.
And and Carbon Stone. So basically, there is a lot of bands from that area that play up here as well.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of it has to do also with the fact that we've always had clubs that let bands showcase their original stuff instead of focusing on, oh, well, you can't play here unless you play covers from these bands.
Yeah.
And the Chameleon Club was a big part of that scene.
Absolutely.
Galiftes was a big part of that scene.
Champ.
The Champ was a big part of that scene. Later on, after the Chameleon Club, HMAC took over.
Yep.
HMAC took that over. And now you have Love Drafts.
You have Love Drafts.
So,
oh, dude, Love Drafts are killing it, man. And I love those guys there, too. Yeah.
And by the way, kudos to one of the promoters that we work with a lot, because over these years, we've worked with a lot of promoters. And did I gain a lot of those relationships from when I worked in FM? Sure, I did. Mm-hmm. But I'd be a fool to not, try to, continue those connections.
Yeah.
Not only for the radio station, but also, let's face it, FM, there will always be an importance for FM radio.
Yes.
But more people are listening to
Spotify.
Their little smart computer in their hand. I was
Music,
looking for it, but I left my phone over there.
Yeah, I left my phone over there.
But more people are using that. So whether it's Spotify, whether it's Pandora, whether it's Apple Music, whether it's listening to your favorite internet radio station, it doesn't matter. irockradio.me.
I was going to say, I was going to get that plug in there.
But no matter what, more people are listening to that. So if you can offer cheaper promotion and get some of those people that aren't listening to the other, I always tell venues that are advertising concerts, I would never tell you don't advertise with the FM radio station in the market that we're doing, because we don't just do stuff in Harrisburg, York area.
Yeah.
We do stuff in Allentown, Bethlehem. We have done stuff in Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, and would like to again.
Okay.
So we would like to, branch out. We have DJs in State College to do that in Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, and
St. Petersburg, Florida.
Yes.
British Columbia.
Exactly. Well, this 2024 will be another year that we go on Shiprocked too. So it'll be a lot of fun. We do a lot of random interviews. We don't set up anything because I want a vacation also. But
I'm right there with you, man. I'm right there with you.
But when you're walking around and you run into somebody at the casino, I'm not going to interrupt them while they're playing a game of craps or grabbing something to eat in the cafeteria.
Ran into Chris Motionless there.
But if you're sitting at the bar and all of a sudden, it was so funny. R.J. Hale, came up while I was sitting at the bar, and he sat down next to me, and we started talking, and we realized, he didn't remember me from back then because the last I had seen them at the time and actually spoke to them, they were kids.
Yeah.
At the Millennium Music Conference, which was another great thing in this area for unsigned bands. But we started talking about that, and then mutual friends, and before you knew it, we were off to the side doing an interview, and I was introducing him to another member of another band on the boat.
It's crazy how things just fall together in your life.
But Hailstorm, again, they were an unsigned independent band. And what we do in between the popular songs that we play not just the newer rock, but a lot of the independent bands. There's a lot to feature from Central Pennsylvania.
Absolutely.
But we do play ones that are sent to us from the UK. We do play some that are sent to us from Michigan, California, Nashville, Tennessee.
I love the UK stuff right now. There's a lot of good stuff coming out of the UK.
But
I do love Central PA. I love all of you. Don't you worry.
Jordan Red, that's an artist that we play out of the UK that religiously sends us their their new material, and they're just a great rock band.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Well, Jay, I gotta say, I feel like we could sit here and talk all night, and I know we could. I don't feel we could. I know we could.
We got a bottle of bourbon here.
We do. So we'll save that for off camera. But Jay, I look forward to seeing you out and about. I know I'm going to see you at the CPMAs. We see you every year.
Absolutely, yes.
And I'm going to see you in another
I wouldn't miss it.
flashy jacket. I'm going to be in a flashy jacket. I can't wait to see what you have. Hopefully you can't wait to see what I have. But I can't wait till we get to sit down and talk again.
I hope we don't have the same jacket.
Because we're getting close. We're getting close.
If you wear the turtleneck with the gold chain, I'll wear a shirt with a tie. How's that?
Okay, I'll wear the turtleneck again.
Okay.
All right. Jay, thank you again so much for taking the time and sitting down and
you.
talking to us. Thank you so much.
Right.
Thank you, guys. Sitting down with Jay was awesome. Whether it was some of the incredible stories he had from his own personal experiences through the career field or some of the background stories from the local central Pennsylvania music scene. I loved every second of it. But now we're going to sit down with Debo. Debo, thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to sit down and talk with us.
Hey guys, I appreciate being on here, man. It's a total honor, and I've watched it. I've watched what you guys do, and I appreciate it. And seen you guys around before, working hard. So, thanks for having me, man.
Thank you very
It
much.
means a lot coming from you, man. I appreciate that. So, I mean, really, we got you here because it's time for you to tell us about you. Tell us your whole journey. Talk about everything. I mean, you got best R&B artist, best dressed. I mean, you've had one song of the year. You've been nominated for another song of the year. You make your own wine. I mean, you do it all, man.
Hey, man, I'm just a different kind of dude, man. But I don't really, honestly, I don't think there's anything special about me. I think everybody is an artist in their own way. You just kind of have to find out what your art is. For me, growing up, I sat on my talent, my vocal talent, for 22 years of my life. I was terrified. I couldn't even sing in front of my mom. My mom didn't know I could sing until my first album came out. But one day in college, I was reading the Bible. I read Matthew 25, verses 14 through 30. It's called the Parable of the Talents. Mm-hmm. And I realized that it's our obligation, my obligation, everyone's obligation. I think I did this speech at the CPMAs, to share the talent that you're blessed with the world and just be fruitful with it. So from that point on, I started recording, did my first album, then started performing live. And then very quickly, my whole musical act thing, my experience blew up. I mean, I won a Touch Tunes breakout band contest out of like 500,000 to 1 million submissions all over the world, putting my music on Touch Tunes.
Oh my gosh.
Dude,
we won a Hard Rock Rising global battle of the bands. Every Hard Rock cafe in the world competed. And we were finalists in this region, so that put me in Hard Rock cafes. I was performing there, and then we were performing at Lincoln Financial Field for Temple Homecoming. So this is all within the first year of me performing live.
Oh my gosh.
And so,
Dude, you like sat on a rocket and just took off.
That's what it feels like, because I for all these years I was terrified. I couldn't do it, and then all of a sudden I just got put in that rocket, man. And today to think of where my music has come, to have fans in 50 states all over, and then 26 countries all over the world, is just mind-boggling. I never thought that it would go this far, but I think the important thing is the connection with the listener, and that's what I think my best talent is being able to write music that connects with people and things that they're going through. So they're like, this is what I'm going through, and this is helping me out, like through whatever it is. My stuff is really positive. If you guys ever heard my stuff, I don't curse. There's no vulgar language or anything like that. Everything is hidden pretty good metaphorically, of an adult nature, I would say. Mm-hmm. But it's all about positivity, man. There's too much negativity out there in music.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to contribute to that. I always want to be different. You can tell by the way I dress. You can tell by the way my music sounds, like the composition and the lyrically. Mm-hmm. That I'm just a different kind of dude, man.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of conversations off camera.
Yes, we have.
And like, I'll tell you right now, if I didn't know who you were, like out on the street, like, and I mean this respectfully, I wouldn't know who you are, because you just seem like a normal guy. Like, you're so personable, you're so nice, you're so humble. Like, I wouldn't think you're anything special, but like, and I mean that in the best possible way, because you're just blending right in, like, and but you're killing it though, and you're just being so humble about it, which is like, that's incredible to see. And you have such a good message. Like, you just want to keep it positive, and you want to relate to people, and like, that's honestly, I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges of being an artist, is like writing material like it might relate to you, but does it relate to them? And like when you nail that though, it's probably like one of the best feelings when you do nail that relatability.
Right. You know, like a lot of times when I write a song, you know, somebody will hear the song and they'll be like, "Are you going through this? Are you okay? Are you okay?" I'm like, listen, I've been there, but I know somebody somewhere needs to hear this song. Like on my last album, Supervillain, it was nominated for CPMA for Album of the Year this past CPMA Awards. There's a song on there called Suicide Note, and the whole song is like really metaphorically hidden. Like you would really think that I'm going through something. And but at the end, it kind of the message kind of turns on how there's like hope through God and through Christ, and just like you're never alone, and that kind of message kind of it twists into that. And so you know, I
love that.
I've gotten messages from people all over the world. Like one person from like Sweden messaged me one time and was like, "Look, I was getting ready to like end my life, and then I heard one of your songs and it saved my life." And like that, I don't care if nobody likes a song that I do. For that one person that it connects to and maybe even save a life, that's what it's for. Like, you never know what somebody's going through. So
that's the true magic of music.
Yeah, it is, man. Like, everybody can understand it. Like, I had a song, the song I'm going to do later, it's called Do It. That's the one that won the Hard Rock Rising Global Battle of the Bands. It put me in that thing. That song charted in Brazil. And I'm like, that's a Portuguese-speaking country. Like, I don't know how that happens. So when I'm getting these emails and the royalties and seeing where this stuff is played, I'm just like, it blows my mind. Like, I never would have imagined that my music would have connected like that.
Yeah.
When I make something, I don't expect a return on it. And the same thing was when I volunteer. Like when I do a lot of coaching sports, I coach 5 sports. I don't want nothing back. I don't do it for CPMAs or anything like that. But when that stuff comes, it's really refreshing. It gives you kind of validation for what you do. Like, it feels good when your peers, you know, like you guys, and just I go to the CPMAs and everybody wants to take pictures. And my mom was my date the first year, right?
That's awesome.
And I don't think she ever understood like how respected and how like revered I am amongst my peers. I don't know if I ever understood it. But it was an experience for her. And like, she sat down in the car next to me and she was like, "Yo, these people really love you." I said, "I love them too, Mom." I said, "You know, it goes both ways, you know."
You're gonna make me cry on my own show.
Yeah, seriously, I'm
Why
getting
are you doing
goosebumps
that right now, Debo?
Hercules.
But it's true though, man. I mean, you got to do it for the right reasons. But I mean, I also got to ask, when you found out you were charting down in Brazil, I mean, did you book the first ticket down to Brazil to be like, "What's up, everyone? Yo, it's Debo. I'm here."
Yeah, baby.
Hey.
No, but that's the hard thing, man. I feel like I have a lot of fans in Spain and like the UK and you know, Brazil and places like that. And it's just like taking the step to just like spend $50,000 to put my band on a flight and go all down there and do a show. Like, that's the hard part. Like, breaking that. It's not really a fear, but first of all, you got to have the money to do it.
Yeah, you got to have the bankroll.
You got to have the bankroll. But I know if I went those places, they would know me there, you know? And so one day, that's pretty much my dream now. Like, my dream before, when I started, was to share my music with the world. And that's happening right now. So now my dream is to go out in the world and perform it. You know, I've been gracious enough to I toured Nashville. I did a bunch of shows in Nashville. We went into the projects in Nashville where people feel like nobody cares about them. We set up a bunch of grills. We fed the community, put on a free concert, and it was just like, man, the kids just looked at us like stars, man. And it was just the coolest thing, you know, having that impact on people. And we did it totally for free for them. And then we went in, you know, some of adult venues and stuff like that. I've performed probably up and down the East Coast. And just to think, like, I couldn't even sing in front of my mom at one point. So it's come a long way, man. It's come a long way.
That's awesome. And I want to ask, you know, you're saying it came a long way. We talked about a lot of the awesome things that you've done over this time. What was your journey into the music community like? I mean, where did you start out? How did you get your start in this?
Well, honestly, I started composing music when I was like 5. I had one of those little Casios that everybody had, you know. That you could record it and loop whatever you're recording.
Yep.
And I just started like teaching myself how to play instruments. I was never classically. I was classically trained to play the drums.
Okay.
In like third.
You don't
third
really hear
grade.
that very often.
Yeah, I was.
That's the one you were classically
Yes.
trained on. Yeah,
The
that's
only
definitely
thing-
unique.
I took guitar lessons later, thanks Nick Carruthers. He was one of the guitarists in my band at one point. But everything I know, I pretty much taught myself. I have worked with some people that taught me a few things about production, and I just kind of tweaked what I know to kind of fit my own sound.
Mm-hmm.
But my brother Earl he was very instrumental in introducing me to the live performance side of things, the studio performance side of things. And so he put me around some people earlier on in my career where I was able to record my first album and then get out there and perform, in bands and things like that in a live setting. So a lot of that I owe to my big brother. And then I just kind of took it in another direction. And, here I am today, man, sitting on your show, which is just awesome to me, man.
It's awesome to have you on,
Yes.
man.
Yeah, I mean,
Seriously.
Brett Michaels has been on the show, and just some of the acts. And John Christopher, he's the bassist in my band. He's the mayor of Hershey. I don't know if you guys know that. But if there was,
know
Oh, you
that.
did not
there-
mention
he's
that.
not
know
really
that.
the mayor of Hershey. But if there was, he would be.
Okay, I thought you meant like for real. I was like, how did that not come up in our notes? Or
Man, we
anything?
did Elizabethtown homecoming a couple weeks ago, and everybody's coming up to him, John. I call him JC. I'm like, Dag, man, like, who doesn't know you in this area? But we do. Homecoming gigs are fun. Like, being a Temple grad, playing football at Temple, doing the homecoming gig at Temple at the Lincoln Financial Field every year, where it's really homecoming for me. That's probably my most fun gig to do.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Because they pay us a ridiculous amount of money to perform for 45 minutes. They give us a whole row of seats on the 50-yard line, 10 rows back. We eat and drink for free. I take home a bunch of free shirts and free hats and,
Plus, you get
beer.
to spend the day at the link.
yeah, and spend the day at the link and then go out with my fraternity brothers and teammates, later on that night. So I have some pretty cool experiences, pretty cool gigs throughout the year that I look forward to. The Fillmore in Philadelphia, that was another good one. I
Oh,
did a
man.
Halloween
Ooh,
party
yeah,
there
yeah,
last
yeah.
year.
That's awesome.
Yeah, looking at the wall, seeing the signatures of all the performers that have been there, and then here's me. Like, wow, like how am I here? Like,
Dude, I went to the Fillmore in New York City. This was years ago to see Bring Me the Horizon,
okay,
and it was cool. Like, oh, it's awesome to see Bring Me the Horizon. But then, like, randomly, like in the middle of the show, Ollie Sykes, the lead singer of Bring Me the Horizon, he's like, oh yeah, he's like, I just want to point out the fact that I got my good friend Dee Snider of Twisted Sister up in this, and he just stood up like
Wow.
on the there was Dee Snider of Twisted Sister, and we were just like, what? Like, that's not who. But it's cool. But like, it's crazy, like what you can just see at some of these iconic like places. Like, you never know what's gonna happen when you go there.
know.
You never know.
you never
walls
know
could
who's gonna
talk,
be
you know?
there. And somebody once told me, give the same energy and the same performance whether it's 60 people there or 60,000.
Yep.
Because
Absolutely.
you first of all, you never know who's watching, but second of all, you want to build that. You want to build the same fan base. You want to have the same energy from the fans, whether there's 60 people there or whether there's 60,000 people there. You want the same love. And I've been in some shows where there's 60,000 people, and I still try to make it a very intimate entertainment experience. Like, I get down there, I have my own dance. So I get down there for 8 minutes. I instruct the dance. I teach people how to do it. The line dance is called the Debo. And then we go out and do it. And then, by the time I'm cooked, I get on stage and they're still doing it. I sit there and wipe myself off, But
That's awesome.
yeah,
That's
all my
awesome.
shows are very personal, personal, and people remember that personal interaction.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They remember that. That goes a long way, between sets. And this is for all you artists out there that might be, just starting, or even some of you existing artists. Like, between sets, when you have a break, go talk to people, and shake hands and kiss babies. They remember that. One dude I met, do you guys remember Blarney's?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did a show at Blarney's one time, and during the break, I was sitting at the bar waiting for water, a pitcher of water, and this dude was sitting next to me. He's like, hey, man, you sound really good. I said, hey, man. I said, I'm Debo. Nice to meet you. Shook his hand. The next break, I came back. This dude came with like a wad of like 50 people. Was like, yo, this is my boy Debo. Like, I just met him 45 minutes ahead, but now I'm his boy. Because that personal experience.
Absolutely.
They remember that. And you know what? I appreciate that. Like, I'll be your boy. I'll be your homie, Like, people like total strangers have met me at shows. They invite me to their house. I show up and they're like, wow, like, I didn't know you were going to come here. Like, welcome. And I'm like, yeah, well, I'm just like you. I'm nothing special. I don't think I'm special. I'm just.
You're not wrong though. That special like connection, doing that, like that means like the world to fans. Like one time I went to go see a band. They're a pretty big band, but I wasn't able to see them when they were close to me because of scheduling conflicts. So I ended up driving down to Richmond, Virginia to see them. I mean, I already talked about Bring the Horizon, so I guess screw it. It was Being His Notion. But I went down to Richmond, Virginia to see them, and I was like, this is still probably going to be packed. I got to this venue. It was like this small venue. There might have been like 40 people at this place tops to see them play. And the vocalist picked up on that. He got off the stage. He did the entire performance
in the crowd.
Right on the floor in the crowd, in the middle of all of us.
Yep.
The entire performance. And it was one of the most incredible performances I've ever seen. And you could tell he was just living for it the entire time too. So it's like, I love that you do that because as a fan, like, that will make it stick in your head. You're like, that person's awesome because they're not afraid to be down on the same level with you. Like, they're not different.
Right.
They're just like you.
Right.
And it makes that experience all the better.
Yeah. And just as a fan of music, those experiences, like I went to see DMX. Actually, the first concert I ever went to was DMX.
That's awesome.
That is pretty sweet.
At the Lear Chorus Center in Philly, on Temple's campus. And it was intimate like that. Like, he was out there in the crowd with us, you know, growling, where my dogs at? You know, all that. You know, he took off his he had like a T-shirt on. He took it off, ripped it up, and all the ladies grabbing it, and like shards of T-shirt are like all over us. And like, my brother looked at me, he's like, you better not grab that. You better not grab it. So I didn't grab it.
I didn't grab it. Like,
you know, I'm not gonna frame a DMX piece of T-shirt, but I was a big fan, you know, and that experience is something you never forget, man. And so you don't want, as an artist, you don't want to separate yourself from your fan base. You want to connect with them any way you can, not just musically or lyrically, but by doing things like this, like, you know, so they can get a peek into your life, your real life. I mean, I do a lot of volunteering. I coach 5 sports: baseball, basketball, flag football, tackle football, track and field. I work with kids. I'm an electrical engineer. I work for the Navy. So I do a lot of stuff just because my parents were like that, and I don't know any other way. Like, my dad was that guy that would put, you know, 5 or 6 kids into a van and go to Reading and be in a basketball tournament, you know. So that's why I'm that way, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I had good parenting. I had good, positive people in my life. And so my college football coach always said, and he's down there, he coaches at Tampa Bay now. Nick Rapone, he's the safeties coach at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He said, surround yourself with positive people. Yep. Because you eventually become your environment, whether you want to or not. So if you're around negativity, you become your environment, even if you're not partaking of what they're doing. That some of that negativity rubs off on you, you know, vibes and all that stuff people talk about. It's real, man. Like, you know, like a lot of people say, you know, oh, this person gives off good vibes or this person gives off bad vibes. Like, that's real stuff. Like, so I try to give off good vibes, you know?
Yeah.
I've just gotten terrible vibes all night, man. I'm just kidding. It's been the total opposite. But I mean,
seriously, nothing but good vibes.
Yes, nothing but good vibes. You know how they have the saying, jack of all trades, master of none? I think when it's your case, Debo, I think you're jack of all trades, kind of a master of some.
Yeah, master of all.
I don't know, man. Like you like you said, you do so much. Like for any of our fans, when we were off camera before we started rolling here, actually, I asked Debo, what have you not done? Like what do you not do? Like music, like the producing, the working for the Navy, the stuff that you've done. We're not going to talk about those things on camera, but like it's a very impressive like resume, man, and like you just emanate positivity.
Yes.
You want to know what it is? I'm a whole brain person. Like it's kind of rare. You know, some people have attributes of left brain, some people have attributes of right brain. Like, I'm probably getting this mixed up, but I think left brain are people that are more mathematical and scientific, and right brain are the artistic people.
I think that's right.
And my parents, my mom was an art teacher, and my dad was in a band that opened up for like Kool and the Gang and Rick James and Earth, Wind and Fire back in the day.
God.
So I get it from them, and I think That's why I don't sleep at night, because my brain doesn't shut down. I can't.
I hear that.
I don't. I really would like to learn how to meditate to shut down.
Yeah.
But some of my best music I write in the car, in the shower, 5-minute drives. I wrote my favorite song in 5 minutes in the drive home. Midnight, 3 a.m. I mean, songs just come in.
Isn't it crazy when you get that like that one like little like it just like pops your head and you're like, oh yeah.
That's
I
the
can
one.
work with that. I can work
Yes.
with that. But and then you're like, don't forget that. So you have to like keep doing it until you get home to either write it down or like put it in the computer. Like I think that's my least
You
favorite
know what
part
I
with
do?
that. What's that?
I have an app on my phone called Recorder, and I will beatbox and sing into that app whatever is in my head, so that later on I can lay it down.
smart.
My song of the year, my Central Pennsylvania Music Award for Song of the Year, I Can't Breathe. I wrote that the day after George Floyd was tragically murdered in front of all of us. Like, it's sad that like these days, stuff like that. My kids have seen murder. When I was a kid, I would have never imagined seeing murder with my own two eyes like that. But that night, or the night after that murder, all this stuff was in my head, and I felt compelled to speak to the world. And so I wrote that song, I Can't Breathe, and I metaphorically talked about how, his literal situation runs parallel with situations I've had or situations that others are dealing with, where you feel suffocated, you feel like you can't breathe, you feel like your surroundings are collapsing on you, and it's fearful,
Absolutely.
So I figured I would speak to the world. I figured the best way I can make a difference is through song. So that's why I wrote that song, and it was up here, and I wrote it in a matter of probably 10, 15 minutes.
That's crazy.
Amazing.
So, when there's something to talk about, that's the best music. Like
gets the juices flowing.
when you're going through stuff, or when people are going through stuff, or when the world's going through stuff, like, talk about it, talk about it. Like, don't keep it to yourself. I kept it to myself for too long, man, and no more, man. From now on, I'm sharing what's up here.
Isn't it weird when you have to like revisit that stuff though?
Yeah,
like,
it is.
Because like I've been in those situations where like here's a topic I'm definitely gonna write a song about. This is a good topic to write a song about, but I'm not feeling that topic right now. And so like you have to like force yourself mentally and emotionally back into that scenario, and like that's a journey, man. Like it's almost dangerous at times because you're like oh, like I got over that. Like open yourself back up to it, and then you got to get yourself back out of it again. You know what I mean? You kind of like got to hop in the tub, and you're like, ooh, yep, it's still too hot, and then you get back out.
Yeah.
Like, but just long enough to write that material.
Yeah, it's a journey. It definitely is. Every song is its own journey in its own way, and I thank God I never have writer's block. I always have something to write about. Like, I might write about this one day. Who knows, man? But this is awesome, man. I appreciate you guys for even reaching out to me. Brandon Valentine, thank you, brother, for reaching out to me about having me on the show. It's a complete honor, and just looking at the lineup of guests that you guys have coming up and the guys that you've had so far, it's just like, and I'm in that mix, man. It's like, it's pretty cool,
Man, we're excited to have you here.
Yeah,
I mean, thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come and talk with us. I mean, it's been awesome. I mean, we've learned so much, and it's really been a pleasure having you on the show.
Man, I hope we can hang out outside of this,
Oh,
man.
of
Like,
I would
you guys got,
love that, man.
You guys got something going on, let Debo know, man. Let me know. And I just might
Absolutely.
show up. I show up to stuff.
That's right.
If I say, I'm a man of my word. If I say I'm going to be somewhere, I'm there unless I'm in the hospital or dying, man.
Well,
And
I
that's
don't know.
happening.
Even if you got to go to the hospital, you might stop and get some wings.
Oh,
before
yeah.
you got to go to the hospital.
Oh, yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, yeah.
It depends on how important that hospital
Oh,
visit
yeah,
is.
yeah. If I'm hungry, man, it's life or death situation, going to have to wait.
It gets put on the bench. But so you are going to bless us with this awesome performance
Oh, yeah.
here on the show.
Yes.
This song is called "Do It."
Do It, featuring Lydia. Lydia's another local artist. I decided to when I composed this song, I was like, I gotta get a female vocalist on it, and she was working with my brother's band at the time, so I got her on it. And this is the song that pretty much skyrocketed me. Every artist wants to have that one song that makes money for them forever.
Yeah.
This is that for me. Like, it's the song that won the Touch Tunes Breakout Band Contest. Out of millions, millions of submissions all over the world, somewhere more than 500,000 for sure. And so if you go to a bar or restaurant, if you search "Do It" featuring Lydia, you'll find a picture of me standing at the Susquehanna River for my second album, and you can play that song, and it pays me 0.0009 cents per play. So thanks for making me rich, man. Appreciate
Dude,
it. Give me a couple million of those.
I'm going to put $20 in, and it's only that on repeat.
And then people are gonna be like, "Yo, who did this, man? Get this out of here!" Like, smash the machine up.
I've done that before at a bar.
Oh, yeah.
The best one is you go into a bar, has touch tunes, and you find the one that has "What's New Pussycat," and you play that for 15 songs in a row
And leave?
And no, then you play one different song right after. People are like, oh, thank God it's over.
And then you start.
But then you start all over again. It's just, and you watch people lose their minds.
I did that. I did that with Who Let the Dogs Out.
Oh,
That's a good one to do that too.
They
Yeah,
turned the jukebox
that's a real
off
good one.
eventually.
Who
It's
let
a true
the
story.
dogs out?
Well, Debo, before we let you get on here and play, I gotta say you have some of the most awesome energy.
Yes.
That I've had a pleasure of meeting, and I hope that with all the stuff that you've put out there, all the stuff that you've been able to accomplish, I hope for you moving forward, you do get to take that chance and take that leap and go to Brazil or wherever it is when that moment strikes. I hope you get to perform to all those people because you deserve it, man. You've done all of the things for the right reasons, and you've asked for nothing in return. And if there's anything that you can get in return, I think it would be awesome for you to be able to see that performance and actually give that out and experience that. So I hope that for you, man.
I appreciate that. That's real talk right there, man. And then I'll be right back on this show talking.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
Man.
This is what 3 hours of sleep looks like. We were just talking about
sir.
that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 hours of sleep. Man. Yeah, man, I'll be back for sure. If you
can't
guys
wait.
will have me, I'll be back, and hopefully I'll have more good news and more stories to tell. So,
Absolutely, dude. I'll be right there waiting, man. Well, without further ado,
hey,
Debo, take it away.
Let's do it. Hey, everybody, my name is Debo. I'm going to perform a song for you called Do It. This song won the Touch Tunes Breakout Band Contest out of 500,000 to 1 million submissions all over the world and put my music on Touch Tunes. This song is featuring Lydia. She's another local artist, a phenomenal, beautiful vocalist from the area. You might catch her at the Grotto sometime, so go in there and say hi. Tell her you heard this song. It's called Do It, y'all. Oh, yeah, hey, baby. Oh, I'ma do it for you, babe. Ooh, yeah. Woo. Listen, I said I ain't no average man. When we get undressed, girl, you will see. Already know that I'm better than every other man that you had before me. Baby, won't you come this way? Tonight we're gonna play a little game. Meet me in the bedroom, babe. I'll be doing it right when you say my name. Do it, Debo, do it. Yeah, do it for me, babe. One night with me and you'll be screaming, do it, Debo, do it. Yeah, do it, baby, yeah. Said I'ma take you on a ride. Might be a little bumpy when you're doing things right. So glad that you made it mine. Girl, I hope you're down to make it last all night. Baby, can you feel it deep? Let me turn up the heat. I know you wanna ride the beat and look me dead in the eyes when you say to me, do it, Debo, do it. Said I'ma do it for you, babe. One night with me and you'll be screaming, do it, Debo, do it. You know I wanna make love to you, baby. You know I wanna make you sing, yeah. No, I wanna give my love to you, baby. Can't nobody do it like me. Do it. Said I'ma do it for you, baby. One night with me and you'll be screaming, do it, Debo, do it. Yeah, do it, baby. One night with me and you'll be screaming, yeah. Do it, Debo, do it for you, baby. One night with me and you'll be screaming, do it. Oh, do it for me, babe.
Do it, Debo.
One night with me and you'll be screaming.
Do it,
Debo, do it.
Debo, do it, do it, Debo.
One night with me, yeah, you'll be screaming, yeah. Thank you, y'all. Appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed my song. Good night.
Well, Danny, I think it's time to wrap on another awesome episode.
Yeah, I think we both thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. Make sure you stay tuned for our next episodes coming soon.